There's a lot to juggle. There's home, there is family, there is work.
There's so many roles that we all, all the women play. So I think at some point you want to say, where do you start changing the focus?
It was about how long have you waited before you've met your manager about a raise or, getting more at work or a career growth.
Learn it on the go. No man ever thought about, hey, I don't know, that job is too big for me or not.
Hello and welcome to another episode of More Bang for Her Buck. I think the workplace is a difficult place to navigate for any woman because you've got to get in, you've got to find the ladders to move up horizontally, on a diagonal, and somehow find a way to smash that glass ceiling. But once you get past the glass ceiling, it's also important that you throw the ladder down for other women to climb up and be where you are. And if possible, create an escalator so they don't have to think about it. Here's a woman who's doing all of that and teaching us how to do it as well. Those are the questions that I want answered on the show. And with us today is Banali Malhotra. Now, for 16 years, she was the CMO of Rack Bank. And that's when we met. But today, you've got such an interesting profile of work. You're a board member for the International Women Board of Directors. You're an advisor on marketing and strategy for Network International. And you're on several boards, including you're the chair CMO with Winmark. And what you do on a daily basis is talk to women who are next in line to be like yourself, leading teams, leading companies, and leading decisions. So thank you for being on the show.
My pleasure, Malvika. Thanks and nice to see you again.
So lovely to see you again. So I want to start by talking about knowing when to quit, right? I think it was really brave to do what you did, which is to leave a position that you've held on to for so long and sort of say that, okay, bas, now I think I've done my part. So what prompted that decision?
Yeah, so Malvika, I think I've been in the corporate industry for, close to 30 years actually. So there comes a time when you feel that, you have done what you were set out to do, right? So you've accomplished, you've met the goals you set out for yourselves, you led a team, you've created a brand, you've done everything possible and learned on the way as well. You've given back, and at some point you want to start doing different things because there's way more to life than just your corporate career. It does take a lot of you, so right? So you're juggling a corporate career, you're juggling home life, you're juggling being a corporate wife. There's so many roles that we all, all the women play. So I think at some point you want to say, where do you start changing the focus and where do you want to start having a little more fun and move away from the tactical operational stuff? And when you start feeling that, okay, I don't want to do the tactical operational team management day-to-day stuff. I want flexibility. I want to control my time. I want to be able to do different things, give back in different ways. When you start feeling that, I think then you start feeling that, okay, I think I've served what I'm doing here. I've had a great run with Rack Bank. So I had a wonderful run. Before that, I was with American Express for 12 years. So I'm very loyal to the companies I work with, so very clearly. But I think after both these varied experiences, I was now wanting to do things differently. Maybe not only in the financial services industry, but also in different ways to give back to go after some passion projects that I have. But it didn't last very long because I thought at first I was going to take a break and just travel and just feel really good about just chilling out. I started getting so many options as soon as I quit that I started saying, no, I'm taking a break. And then I said, hey, maybe the door will close one day. So, maybe take a couple of gigs. And that's what I started doing. And I'm like so glad because, once you've taken the break for about a month or 2 months or 3 months, and there's nothing to look forward to, you've done the wellness, care, spa, parents, whatever else, all of that. You've done all of that. Then what? Then, your off days don't seem rewarding because you haven't had an on day. Right? So that's the other thing. So, we are sort of tuned into enjoying your off days because you've had a real, your weekend is exciting because you've had a week full of things you've done.
Stuff you've done.
Yeah, otherwise it's not. Yeah. So then you start thinking, okay, maybe I can take a couple of gigs. Maybe I can, contribute because there's so much to give back and so much to learn and there's so much happening all the time. So you stay relevant as well.
Of course.
That's what sort of when options started coming my way, I could choose. I had the flexibility. I had time to choose. I could decide what I wanted to do, who I wanted to do it with, and how much did I want to do. So when network came to me as an option, I jumped at it Clearly, because I felt I was going to do the exciting part of it, which
Yeah.
is creating a narrative for the group, creating a brand, and I'm also mentoring their CMO. So that's my way of trying to, because she's new to the role. I've been there, done that. I can help her how to navigate this corporate jungle with, personal advice and experience. So I think for me, the time came with a lot of things that were happening in my life.
Yeah.
On the personal level, one daughter had flown, one was home, who's now become a teenager, needed me to run after her a lot more. And my dad was alone, I needed to spend time with him. So I think all of these things came to a point and I realized, okay, I don't need to give so much time.
Right.
And I was ready to quit.
I think an important question for us to ask is, a lot of people watching the show right now are in their heads in a place where they're like, should I quit? Because it's getting a lot. There's a lot to juggle. There's home, there is family, there is work, there is the multiple roles. How do you know that now is the right time? This is what I'm doing for myself versus I'm just crumbling under pressure and I can stick it out. I've got to stick it out.
No, I think everybody knows their thresholds separate differently. And as long as you're not taking the stress back home, it's not telling on your health, because these are irreversible damages that you end up doing. If you prioritize just work or just home, then you start regretting one over the other. So you want to make a balance of it and take all the help you need. Be kind to yourself is what I would tell, the women who are sort of at a crossroad. Be kind to yourself. Don't think that you're sort of quitting. It's not quitting. You're changing path. You're changing course. You're trying to do different things. Don't think of it as as a black mark of sorts.
Yeah.
But I think when you feel that you could use your time more efficiently, effectively, and give back in different ways and get back in different ways and learn and grow in a different way as well. That's the time. But people usually think, should I get another job before I quit? Should I sit here or quit and then look for a job? If that's what you're referring to, I think there's no right answer to that again. Because for me, I didn't have any intentions to go back into this thing. I wanted this thing, but I just attracted it. Right? Because I had enough experience, but some people may want to have, something in the bag before they take a bold step, because their financial needs may be different. Their requirements at home may be different. So, and they may think that employers are looking at people differently if you're in a job versus out of a job, right? So I don't think it matters. When I've been hiring people, I don't think it matters as long as they have a relevant reason. And a relevant reason is also to be home and take care of family. That's a relevant reason. Or take a break. Right. Those are gone are the days where you think, oh, they're unemployed, so let's not touch them. That's definitely not happening. So I think if you've taken a break, it's fine. Yeah. Get back, restart, reset, and then go and see what you attract and feel good about.
Amazing. All right. We're going to come back and talk a little bit about finding mentors in the workplace and how you can get to the next level in your job and what your experience has been like with hiring, finding and growing people in the industry. We'll be back and talk about that. More bang for her buck is a really important conversation around women and money. And if you think that you can contribute, and by this I mean if you've got a case study, a story that you'd like us to discuss with our experts, if you've got a bit of research that you think we should include in the show, or there's an opinion that you think we should feature, we would love to hear from you. Do drop us a DM on Instagram, or you can just email us at info@brownontheoutside.com. So you said this word when you were speaking in the last segment, where you said it's a corporate jungle. It's a jungle out there, right? We put a question out on More Bang for Her Buck a couple of days ago, and it was about how long have you waited before you've met your manager about a raise or getting more at work or a career growth. And someone actually messaged in saying she had waited 11 years before she had that conversation. And it brings us to the next section, which is, how and why do we need mentors?
Okay, so that's a very interesting question. So I'll start with my journey. Firstly, I never had a mentor, so I learned the hard way. I navigated the corporate jungle, like I referred to, pretty much blindfolded, and you realize that you are your best ambassador, and until you don't realize that, and are confident about speaking for yourself and raising your own hand, nobody else is doing it for you. You can be really rest assured, nobody's looking out for you except yourself in that corporate world. You can have sessions, coaching, learning, training, all of that happens, but nobody says, yeah, let's give her a promotion because I think she's been there for long enough, or she's deserving or not. Everybody's fighting for the next job, everybody's fighting. So my whole journey has been when I've had to speak for myself. I've had my work to speak for myself. I've been in a situation mostly when it's been a boys' club. To be heard is not easy. So you can't just give up. You can't quit. So you have to keep, to be effective, you have to be resilient. You have to keep at it, keep going, keep asking, keep raising your hand and improving from your work. There is nobody who can stop you then. So if you've got it covered and you're not going to sulk and say, hey, they didn't hear me the first time, I'm going to say it louder the next time. I'm going to ask for it even louder. And, convince me that I don't deserve it. Otherwise, give it to me. There is no way that you should just keep quiet about it, especially if you're convinced about your work and what you bring to the table. You have to be your own champion. So it helps if you have a mentor in the room. But if you don't, then you struggle till you be your own for sure.
Yeah.
And I have seen that in my journey. But what I've done as a result of it is I've mentored a lot of people. I've had a team of women that I've coached. I'm mentoring currently, so that it makes it easier for them to not go through the same mistakes I made. To not sit quietly, not be not have the fear of getting rejection or feeling like they're being pushy or not yet. Or, I don't know the job yet. Maybe I should raise my hand when I'm more confident. Maybe I should this thing, you should just start already.
Yeah.
Right? So,
get on with
it first. Don't worry, you learn it on the go. No man ever thought about, hey, I don't know the job, it's too big for me or not. So why do women think, we undervalue ourselves and what we bring to the table? So that would be my piece of advice too. So get a bunch of women, network, men as well, wherever you can find mentors, but learn from their experiences and navigate and be your own champion for sure.
When you were hiring, and you've hired hundreds of people during the course of your career, did you find that women kind of say a little less about their achievements? They don't know how to ask for more. What tools do we need to give? If I'm a manager and I have a team of women working under me right now, what do I need to give them to help them navigate that jungle?
No, so I've had that a lot. A lot of women are like, you tell me where I'll fit in. I'm like, no, you ask for what you want. Because a lot of people saying, this is my CV, find me something relevant. No. My job is not to find you relevant. You tell me what you bring to the table and how you'll add value to me. So anybody who comes across as a confident candidate knows what they want.
The flip side to that is, but then I don't want to seem too aggressive. I don't want to seem too ambitious.
No, you're seeming like what you want, and you know what you're confident, and you know what you want. You have your own, you made up your mind, and you have a focus. You're not just saying, hey, take my CV, see wherever you want to fit it.
Yeah.
That's the worst you can do, because I get bombarded with people saying, hey, looking for opportunities. Here's my CV. What should I do with your CV? Really? I don't want to go through this. You tell me your expertise. You tell me what you can see where there is a gap. See how you can add to where we are. How do you make yourself different? Anybody who's confident and even doesn't come with a CV, I'm happy to hear if they can talk through. So that's the difference. How do you stand out from anybody else?
Correct.
If you can't position or at least market yourself?
I think what I see in a lot of women, right, is this attitude of gratitude. And I think I was definitely one of those women for a very long time, where I was for years and years, I was just so grateful for the opportunity of the job. I was just so grateful that you gave me this chair and that I was here. And I'd never, ever asked for a raise just because I felt like, oh my God, I'm just so grateful. Do you see that too?
No, so I'm one of those as well, because I feel a lot of gratitude for what comes my way, but never do I think I didn't deserve it. So that's the difference about don't be in gratitude and say, hey, I got lucky. No, you didn't get lucky. You're here because, you deserve to be here, and own it. But there's nothing wrong with being grateful. And, and there are so many environmental issues which could have gone wrong. There could have been so many different things that could have gone wrong.
But where do you draw the line where you say that, okay, I'm not going to approach, I'm going to make an appointment, go see the CEO. I'm not going to say, hey, thank you so much, I'm so grateful. Instead, I'm going to say, hey, listen, here's the opportunity you gave me. Here's how I performed. Here's the data. Here's how I've, sort of outperformed what I set out to do. Here's how I've changed things for you. So go well prepared. Go with data. Go with information. Go with confidence. Go for the kill, really. Yeah.
Go for the kill, and then don't back. And even if he says, not now, we don't have the budget, we don't know it now, next time, maybe later, but your role hasn't grown, whatever the response is, don't get don't put off or don't feel rejected by it. Keep at it, because it's going to start making a difference sooner or later. It will register. Maybe not the first time, maybe the second time, third time. you have to be difficult
Keep
to
at it.
ignore. Yeah,
Be inconvenient.
Don't let
Great.
them ignore you. Yeah.
Great. I want to end this little segment with a question that's come in from one of our listeners. So she's gone to a networking event. She's met a lot of powerful, very interesting women, very accomplished women who have done great stuff with their careers. They chatted for a while. Now this person met someone who could be a mentor. She gave her card to, let's say, me. And I said, okay, I want to call her, but I don't have a project in hand yet. How do I go about even making that first call? Should I bother to meet her? Should I have a project ready and then network with her? How do I navigate that?
So it all depends. I get a lot of these let's have coffee and catch up kind of requests.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to do that if I can, add value to it. But you don't always have the flexibility of time, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like I'll be able to meet somebody 3 times till they figure out what they want from me, right? So
Yeah.
it's nice to be, and it's not a social requirement. So we're not trying to just be nice.
Right.
There's a purpose for it.
Right.
So as long as there is a purpose and you're focused, I think definitely reach out. And even if you're confused, that's a purpose, to get clarity. I've had people who say, I don't know which way to go. Should I go here? Should I do this? Should I continue in this path? Should I change? Whatever, even if you're in that sort of dilemma of changing jobs, changing options, changing departments, whatever your state of mind is, it's fine to discuss it with somebody else and reach out. But at least go with something that
degree
you
of
want to
clarity.
come back with, because at least
Yeah.
you'll feel in the end of the day you haven't wasted each other's time.
Yeah.
I mean, even if the coffee is really amazing.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. If you're listening to us on Spotify or watching us on YouTube, but you don't follow us on Instagram yet, then please do. All you've got to do is search for More Bang for Her Buck or Brown on the Outside and hit follow. So Banali and I were chatting on a phone call the other day, and you were talking to me about the importance of choosing a right partner and how much that really tells on your career, right? I remember reading this piece by Claudia Golden where she said that the single biggest dictator in your career growth and how much you're going to make and how successful you're going to be is the partner you choose in your marriage, because that has a bigger telling effect on your career than anything else. And you have a story that agrees.
Yes, my story agrees. No, I think it's very, very important that you have a partner and your unit together have the same goals and same ambition for
Yeah.
yourselves.
Yeah.
So, I think it's very important that while you are invested in a career, your partner backs you fully, and likewise as well. It's not gender-based. It should definitely be. My partner and I, we are actually school friends. So we've grown up together, school, college, and then we literally started working pretty much the same time. He took time off and went off to do a further study while I was working and supporting him after we got married. So there was a time where he wasn't working and I was supporting him.
Right.
And then he came back, and it worked for us as a unit, because when he came back with his qualification, he got a much bigger head start, which was perfect. And then there were many a times where there were crossroads where one's career, it's not easy to have 2 corporate careers moving at the same speed. There's always one which sort of takes off.
Yeah.
Requirements are different, travel requirements are different. But as long as your unit and your partnership is good and you understand you're not undermining each other's confidence or looking down on what the other brings to the table, even if the bucks are different at certain times, or it could be, then it can really work. Because then you plan it together, you plan your family together, you plan travel together, and who's for work or for not. But I think the most important thing is that it's never one-sided. The decision, whatever you take to decide, even if you decide to take time off or he decides to go to study further, it's a decision that you take jointly.
Yeah.
And then you both benefit from it or are happier with this decision.
And are able to have that conversation. I think a lot of women it's not that their partner has said, no, we cannot talk about this, but they just kind of hiccup to even bring it up, right? I think I want to take a classic Dubai story. Usually if, let's say, the woman is 25, the man is 32, his career is bringing in more bucks, he's at a particular point. There's a very particular points in your career, right? The question is, should we move to Dubai? Should we not? Hey, I'm not actually making that much. And anyway, it looks like his career is going to grow. So I won't ask any questions and we'll just we'll just go and we'll start this. And then she ends up taking a 5-year career break. A baby happens, 2 babies happen. 7 years later, she feels like I'm irrelevant to the workplace. I don't know how to get back in. This is the classic Dubai story, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I agree. I see a lot of that happens. But I think if the woman is focused, even if you take your little breaks for the baby, I don't even see why you need to, because the minute with me personally, after I've delivered, I wanted to get back to work the fastest.
Yeah.
Because it's not as rosy as you think it is. It's a lot of things, and if you can have help, you ask for it. Don't think you want to be a super mom. There's no such thing. Nobody's giving you a medal for that. Ask for the help. Ask for the mother-in-law, says whoever can help you raise that child, and make sure it's safe and secure. And get your sense of fulfillment as well, because if you're a happy mother, or you're coming back to a happy child, otherwise you're cranky, feeling neglected, all sorts of other things carry on.
Of course, and it tells on the child too,
It tells on
right?
the child, it tells on the family unit, it tells on the stress. So if you're feeling that your sense of achievement and your accomplishment is, achieved by going to work, and whatever that is, go for it.
Do it.
Go for it. Definitely don't have to take a break. And I think you can multitask. I think women are fantastic at it.
Yeah.
You can multitask as long as you're not sort of breaking your back.
I think there's 2 things here to address, right? One is, I know women. I mean, my boss for the longest time would say that every time I have to walk out of the house, my child will come and grab my leg and say, "Mama, don't go," and "Mama, play with me." And then the guilt, and I'm sitting in the car and I've got tears in my eyes and she's waiting. And the working mother's guilt is like really real.
I know what you're saying. I've gone through that, but I don't think there's any reason to be guilty. The man can. Do the men ever feel guilty? They play, they throw the child up, and they do all of this. Do the man ever feel guilty? No. So I think the kids also get resilient and are happy to see the parents go and are proud. I mean, you're a great role model for your kids then.
Yeah.
That, be resilient, be confident, be independent, all of that. And they're happy to sort of see my girls. Every time I used to go out and I'm telling her I'm doing this, they're super proud of, what we've achieved. And they would Google us and they would sort of say, they have that different sense of happiness, because the parents, you may miss the odd parent-teacher meeting or, session, but you try and juggle all of that, right? So your focus on that day can be very different. It could be the kids, it could be your home, it could be your work, but you juggle it all.
But it's also important to have a partner who's willing to have that conversation.
Also give his,
right?
do his bit as well. It's not only the mother's job to do all of this.
So it's not surprising when women sort of put brakes on their own career, saying, "Listen, I'm not going to progress any further because, hey, at 5 o'clock, I've still got to go back and make a dinner and plan tomorrow's dabba and speak to the nanny and plan all this other emotional load." I can see why women put brakes on their own careers, because hell, I've got 3 full-time jobs at home.
I think the one thing is, when you get into a relationship, you have to choose really wisely. Make sure their partner comes to the table with half. It has to be half. I mean, I have that. I mean, I'm useless at grocery shopping or some of the house stuff. My husband is super house proud. He's the one who's going to constantly changing, getting things done, whatever. And that's his passion. And the men have those passions as well. So they should be allowed to flourish and don't box anybody's stereotype anybody into what they should do and not. When we are parenting, co-parenting. We are not doing a mother or father, as a team. One has said no, the other hopefully will also agree to say no, or you fight it out on that. But it has to be a partnership. How you raise your kids, how you look after your family, how you look after the extended family, how you go out with your friends, relationships. It has to be in conjunction. It's not his way or her way, or it has to be together, and then you're on the highway.
Did you ever hear a thing of like, but why do you need a raise, Banali? Your husband's doing well, na?
Oh yeah, I heard that. That's a different level of discrimination. I heard it very often, in fact, and I think it's so crazy to get a comment like that, because it sort of it instantly makes you feel that whatever you're doing doesn't really matter. If your husband is doing well, I'm the one who's coming to work here. I'm putting the hours here. My performance deserves the raise. So what has it got to do with what he's doing? It's irrelevant. Nobody would say that to a man who's doing well, that, hey, come on, take a little break. Your wife's raking it in or is doing really well. Nobody said that to a man. So why would they even say that or even think that? But does it happen in reality? Yes, it does.
Yeah. Do a
Yeah.
lot of people continue to ask women whether they're planning to have children in job interviews? And how does a woman who is walking into a job interview and being asked that by a bunch of
So
guys?
I was asked this question literally 17 years ago in the HR interview and saying, hey, what's your plans for a family? And I'm like, I'm going to have a beautiful family. Like so I'm like, and when the HR head kept asking me, and I came from a multinational, right? You don't ask these personal questions at all.
No.
And I'm like, he's like, so how old are you and when do you think you're going to have this family? And I'm like, oh, how much do you earn? And he looked at me baffled, saying, what kind of answer is that? And I'm like, you asked me inappropriate questions. I'm going to ask you the same. And he was really baffled. He backed off because that was the only way to shut him up. Because there is nobody's business how and when you're planning your family. Yeah, your manager, you may need to take into this thing so that work is planned and nothing suffers from there. But otherwise, it's nobody's business. Everybody has a right to plan their life, their personal life, the way they want. And nobody needs to ask questions on age or any of those things.
Another thing that I think a lot of women face is like they go into appraisals and they say, you've done really well, top of the class, really well. But I'm sorry, you're not going to get that raise because right now we don't have the budgets for it. Is that...
So that's a tricky one. But the thing is, you have to get timelines from your manager on that one. It's like, okay, so you said this now, but I see different. Go with data. Data always works. So go with data, saying, okay, so what was the budget and how come the budget is finished and who did it get finished on? So you can sort of show that you're passionate about what you deserve and you're not going to just be given some lip service, right? So you need to go with data to say, hey, okay, so if the budget wasn't this, when is the next round of funding coming? Will I be in line? Will I be considered? Can I check back with you in 2 months? So, at least you put a timer and a plan so that next time he says this to you, he can't say exactly the same thing that he said then. Yeah. So you need to be resilient and you need to be assertive and you need to keep asking because no one is giving it to you if you're not asking for it.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Banali. I think big takeaways is ask, go in with data, go in with the right vocabulary. I think write some of this down, go back, rewatch the episode, write down her lines and use it because that's what I would do. I do my homework. It's been such a pleasure talking to you, Banali. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Malvika. Thank you for having me here.
More Bang for Her Buck is a show that's produced by Brown on the Outside. If you like the conversations we're having, and I think they're important about women and money and having the talk, as inconvenient as it might be, do like, share, comment, subscribe, tell a friend, and spread the network. And if you'd like to be a contributor and you'd like to add your opinion, we'd love to hear that as well. This show is produced by Brown on the Outside. A thank you to our production team, The Dark Room, our producer, Sarah Anand, research and intern, Hiral Verma, and on hair and makeup, Neha Shah.